I will be debating to tax the wealthy more. It's not about who pays more than who. The one who has less will say that the other has to pay more, and the one who has more says that it's unfair. The important thing is how the use of the money of these taxes benefits this whole country. If everyone were to pay the same, 20% for example, that wouldn't be good, because the country wouldn't have enough money to support everything, such as schools, roads, security, and a lot more things that we all benefit from. In an economy with a deficit like today, the only way to save our country is to make the wealthy pay higher taxes. This way, we can have a better public education, not pass it down to the next generation of people, and so the older people can keep their health insurance. Alright, so I am going to... make a visual here. Use the brown. Alright. This is a rich person. This is a poor person. They both will have to pay 20% of what they get, let's say each month. The rich man gets $50,000. The poor person makes $5,000. 20% of 5, 10,000, 1,000. The person has $4,000 left. This person has $40,000 left. So they will both will have to pay for education, rent, food, and health insurance. Alright, oh jeez, what? Alright, so this person can forget about health insurance and not enough food if he's Tony. This person will be able to pay all this and still have enough money to keep for himself. Now, let's say this person has to pay 30% and this person still has to pay the 20%. Person will have to pay $15,000. That's $35,000. He will still be able to pay what he needs and still keep money for himself. Even if I make it 40%, he will still have enough money to pay for what he needs and to keep for himself. Alright, so if the wealthy pay more taxes, they're still going to have enough money to cover their necessities, as I said, like 4 times. And with that money, we will ensure equal opportunities for a good standard of living for everyone.
Say your thoughts to Leah. Yeah, both at the same time to clear.
Okay, so I think that the wealthy should not be punished for being successful. First of all, the wealthy work very hard to earn their money. They invest their time and money in their schooling and education to get where they are in their business. And Ben Carson is a good example because he came from a family who had nothing, and yet he worked extremely hard to become a famous brain surgeon. Taxing the wealthy more discourages business growth. The wealthy people will not want to make as much money because they will have to pay more taxes on it if they make more. So, and they will not want to expand their business, which they could either fire people from their jobs or not hire any more people to work in their company. So that adds to the unemployment. Here's an example. A man makes $1 million a year. He is taxed an extra $100,000. that could have hired 2 people for $50,000 a year, which, if in turn, those people could help make his business grow, and he could even hire even more people. Taxing the wealthy can more taxing on the wealthy can encourage dependence on government. So say somebody is taxed more, then they'll say, well, if I'm making more money, why not make less money, so then I won't have to be taxed more on it. And encourages their their dependence on the government. And they ask, why be successful if the government can take care of me? Here's an example. A family of 4 makes $20,000 a year and is not taxed. The family starts to make $25,000 a year and starts to be taxed. The family thinks, why should I make more money and be taxed on it when I can just make $20,000 a year and depend on the government and the wealthy that pay the taxes for my kids' education, give me food, and just not work as hard? Here's another example that we can relate to. A class is going to take a history test. There are students who study really hard for this test, who study little for this test, and who don't study at all. The students who study hard for the test get an A, but the people who study little get a C, and people who don't study get an F. So the teacher says the next day, I have decided that everyone in the class gets a C on the test, even if they've made an A. The students who studied hard for the test and worked really hard to get an A say, well, I guess I don't have to study for the next test because I know I'm just going to get a C. And the students who didn't study at all and who studied just a little say, well, I don't have to work hard because the people who get A's will help keep my grade up from not being a D to come to stay at a C. Tax dollars go to public works. When public works are used equally in society and among everyone, why should the wealthy have to pay more? Some of our tax dollars that we pay for today pay firemen, policemen, roads, pay for roads, parks, bridges, etc. Why should the wealthy pay more for something that is used equally by everyone? For example, a bridge is being built across the Cumberland River. It costs the state $50,000 to build a bridge. The wealthy are already paying more for it in taxes than the non-wealthy. Why should they pay more for something that is used equally by everyone?
Alright. So first of all, taxes pay public schools. There is no way that you cannot pay. Why would you not pay a teacher that's in a pub? How would a teacher get money from a public school if they're not getting paid? From taxes. That's why we need to raise the money on rich people so that we have enough to pay the schools, all right, to make bridges, and to do other things that are necessary for us to live. Because if we only tax the middle class and the poor people, the same amount. I mean, not the same amount, because the rich have more money to do the necessary. But if we have those two classes paying, let's say 10% less than the rich people, which are 1%, even up to 2% of the whole entire United States of America, all right? That's only 2% of the whole entire freaking country. All right? That would be a lot of money to cover for poor people that do need to live, all right? They need food, they need education, they need everything that a body and a mind needs to work, all right? And that's my point.
Okay, Alex, you said that how else will we get money to pay for the people? I'm not saying we should get rid of taxes completely. I'm just saying that we should sort of keep them where they're at and not like have the wealthy pay 5% and then the non-wealthy pay 2%. And also, if the state needs more money, they can use user polls. Where, like in California or Florida, they have a lot of those where you pay like $1 or something just to use the freeway. And you also said in your opening argument it helps with the deficit. The deficit at the moment is about $16.7 trillion. And one of the main reasons why we have the deficit is because the government is spending all their money on wars and other stuff. But if we could limit government spending, that would help with the deficit a whole lot more. And also, here's another thing to know. The IRS numbers state that the top 10% American earners, top 10% earners in America earn 43% of the total income of the United States. That's a lot. But they pay 70%, that's over half, of all the taxes, income taxes taken in by the government. And then the other 90% only pay 30% of all the other income taxes that the government pays.
Do this on Tuesday, all right?